Hey, I'm Angie with Adventures in No Madness, and that's Rhonda. Whoop, whoop. Hey, we want to share with you how easy it is to convert your Honda generator to propane. And the big question is why? Why would you convert this nice generator to propane? Well, we've been living off-grid in our cabin, and this on gas has just been great, and we've used it quite a bit. But we're going to be going back full-time in our travel trailer really pretty soon here. And we're going to take this with us, obviously. We really haven't had a need for a generator in our trailer, other than maybe here or there when we've been camping somewhere with a lot of trees and our solar panels don't get enough juice back in the batteries. So we want to carry this with us in case we need it. But we don't want to have an extra gas can. Number one, we don't want to have extra stuff. So if we can run this off propane, especially the propane tanks that are on the RV itself, that would be fantastic. Also, keeping gas in here, gas tends to get stale and bad if you keep it in here, and we don't want to do that. So this is a good opportunity now that the temps are a little bit warmer in our Alaska paradise here to go ahead and convert this to propane. Right, the tools you'll need are a screwdriver, power drill, a small drill bit, a unibit or a step bit, measuring device, a 5/8 wrench, 2 crescent wrenches, and ratchet with an 8mm socket. This kit we're going to do is from Hutch Mountain, and just so you're aware, if you do install this kit, it will void the warranty with Honda, but you can buy a separate warranty from Hutch Mountain if you want to. For us, we've had this generator now for a year, so totally worth it for us, and we know a lot of people have had really great results with this. So the first step is to take off this panel, just like that. And then the second step is to measure where we're going to put the hole up here for the propane fitting. In the instance of a 2200, I'm going to measure 5 inches from here, from this edge. And then from that edge, from this edge right here, we're going to go up 3/4 of an inch. So X marks the spot right there. Right, we then want to remove the air filter box here. So I'm going to take the cover off of this. And then we can remove the pre-filter right here. I'm going to set that aside right there. We want to take our ratchet with our 8mm, and we're going to take off these 1 bolt and 2 nuts. I'm going to pull this assembly off of here. And then there's this tube that just pulls right out of there. So that right there fits right in that hole there. Alright, so I'm going to set this off to the side. Now, next step is to drill that hole, and I'm going to double check my measurements because I always like to. Measure twice, cut once. I'll take my drill, and this is just a 1/8 drill bit that I'm going to use as a pilot hole. And I'm going to drill a small hole in here first. So on these unibits, you probably won't pick this up in the camera, but there's different measurements, and this goes up to 9/16. So I'm going to drill it up to there, up here. I've counted that 6 steps, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to count as I go in so I don't go too far. Hutch Mountain comes with a really complete kit. We're going to start with this one here. I've gone ahead and put some propane fitting tape on these, and they give you a couple washers. So I'm going to stick one of these washers on the back side here. But these go behind these two tubes here. I'm going to put the washer on, and then up like that. Take the next washer, put it on top like that, and then this fitting goes on here. So you can start off just doing this hand tight. I'm going to take a 5/8 wrench and hold it on the back side, and I'm going to start screwing this. I can now take this quick disconnect fitting here, take that top off, and then this can go on here. Boop, boop, boop. And I'm going to use a couple of crescent wrenches to tighten that up. So the next step is to remove this old gasket here from the carburetor. So we're going to get rid of that. And we got two more over here. So I'm going to put one on. And then I'm going to put this on here. And this is supposed to be routed behind the pink tubes. I think would have been easier before I installed that. Okay, then the tube goes on here. And then the other last washer, or gasket, I'm sorry. Oops, gotta put it on right though. My dad would say you gotta be smarter than what you're working on. There we go. Right, in the kit they give you this spacer, and that is gonna go on the back side of the cover. So I'm gonna stick the bolt in like that. And on the back side, I'm going to put that spacer like that. So we have to make sure that the tube goes back here in that hole. And then throw that bolt back there, line that up in here. So I think I would line these two up first, and then that'll help with that other bolt. Okay. Alright, a little bit of a booger to get that bolt line back up in there, but got it. Alright, I'm going to put the nuts on these other two spots here, and because of the spacer and the gaskets, you don't have a lot to work with here, so you really have to push in on this. lose this stuff in the snow. I had a little bit of an issue, and that is this through bolt that comes all the way through was actually sliding back and forth. So I had to get just a little bit of a tip of it and use my needle nose to pull it out, and then basically hold this down so that it wouldn't slide back again. So I got it finally, but there's not a lot of threads here to capture hold of, so I just could not grab a thread at all, so it took me a little extra time. And you only torque these to about 22 inch-pounds, so they don't need much. Alright, and I made sure that the tube is back in place in that hole. And then I can put the pre-filter back in. There. And I can now put the cover back on. And now put this cover back on. Okay, well they give you a new sticker here, so I'm going to peel this one off. Oops, I might have to use a hairdryer or scrape it off somehow. But I'm going to remove this. Oh, that wasn't hard at all. Good thing I got fingernails. That's all off, and then I've got a alcohol swab. They didn't provide this, so I just found one. Clean that off real good. No, let that dry. So in this kit, they also give you this cool little, looks like a neat little keychain thingy. And there's a jet in here if you want to run this off of natural gas, which I don't see us ever doing. Alright, well, they give you two stickers. I guess you can choose what color you want. I'm going to go with the black. And peel that off. That's an off mode right now, and that just goes just like that. Alrighty. Doesn't that look professional? Okay, the next step we have to do is run the gas out of the carburetor. And in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And I'm going to put the choke on. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn it down to the gas off mode. And then that'll run it out of the carburetor. And then we could hook up the propane to it. So that's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes for that to happen, and we'll come back then and do the next step. Propane, woo! Okay, so we have a couple of other things to hook up here. We have this piece here that fits on your propane tank, and then this is a quick connect or quick disconnect that fits to the larger regulator. All right, you hold that click in. You want to have these little blue caps because it rests on there and protects the tank, and then this is supposed to be in a upright position like that. And this quick connects into your generator. Click, click, click. Like that. Okay. All right, I'm gonna turn our tank on. And then on this, you want this on the same position I have that on, which is propane gasoline off, propane, and you don't need to choke this. So leave the choke off, and there's a primer button right here, and you hit this primer button right here for like half a second, like that, okay? And I should be able to start this now. Okay, I realized it's going to take a few times the first time. Gotta let the gas get through. One thing that was suggested in the manual for installing this kit was to re-gap the spark plug. I actually have a new one that I'm going to go ahead and install, and it says to gap it to 20 thousandths. I've got this neat little gapping tool, and it pretty much already is at 20 thousandths.
What size wrench is that?
5/8. Alright, I put a new spark plug in, but then, you know, it's good to reread directions. If you pull it 3 times and nothing happens, reprime it, and we do that. When you want to turn your generator off, you should turn it off at the propane tank, because that'll bleed all the propane out of the line. And then if you need to run it from gas, it's already ready for that. Well, when we want to hook this up to the propane tanks that are on board the travel trailer, there's a couple options you can get from Hutch Mountain depending on what you have. So there's a mounting bracket basically where this regulator just kind of sits on that, on the ground, and then this longer hose. I'm not sure if I need this fitting or not, but it gives you good instructions on their website for that. If you want a $15 discount, we're not a big enough channel, but Fate Unbound, one of our favorite channels, does. So if you go to Hutch Mountain and put Fate in the coupon code spot, you'll get $15 off. We're super excited about having this option now when we get back in our travel trailer. And if this video was helpful for you at all, please hit that subscribe button, because that makes us know that this is all helpful for you. Hit that like button, and we'll see you in our next video.